Today we turn our attention towards a paradox. In a world that is often bruised and broken, gratitude is still possible. Today, for those of us who live in Colorado Springs, we are facing a shattered world, a world full of the deepest tears. Overnight, 5 were killed and 18 injured at Club Q, a gay and lesbian and queer bar in Colorado Springs. We've been here before. Columbine, Aurora, Boulder, Planned Parenthood. Shootings that left us horrified and shaken to our core. The only response I know involves silence and tears, at least initially. A vigil will be held, candles will be lit, words will be spoken, words that are insufficient. Mostly there will be silence. What words could possibly meet the occasion? The bad news is, here we are again. We know that in Colorado, an estimated 1.25 million people have been targeted in a hate crime based on their identity. And we know that only 18% report those hate crimes to the police. We have a serious issue around hate and around guns, which is why I am grateful today for a universalist faith. A faith that imagines that we are all siblings, owns it and claims it and speaks it, where all have dignity and worth, and none are hated because they are black or brown, gay or lesbian or trans, Muslim, Jewish, atheist, Christian, none of it. I am grateful for my universalism and our shared Unitarian and Universalist heritage and faith. I cling in such moments to the hymn that we'll sing in a little bit. We'll build a land. You know it, right? Some of you know it. We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves all mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land that can be. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we'll bring good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Here is some good news. That queer community in Colorado Springs and around the country will be held in love by people near and far. That's the good news. So let us take a moment of silence to hold our siblings in our hearts. We also know that I'm speaking about gratitude on November 20th because in our United States culture, Thanksgiving is 4 days away. And we know this is a story of colonialism, exploitation, greed, and murder. We acknowledge that. We do not turn away from that. And we recognize that such fall festivals of giving thanks for harvest are a part of Northern Hemisphere societies going back millennia. So we also recognize the human and pagan traditions of giving thanks for the harvest and for the cycles of the earth. We can hold all of that in our hearts and minds simultaneously, which is the point of paradox, right? We are surrounded by ambiguity, joys and sorrows, tragedy and life, as it is now, so it's always been, and always will be. So even with that reality of tragedy and heartbreak, we're going to explore gratitude this morning. Is that okay? It's not denying the reality of violence and heartache. It is absolutely necessary in spite of it and because of it. For instance, today, amidst the sadness, I will think of my college roommate, Ronnie Russell, gay, lover of college football, son of a truck driver, first person in his family to go to college. I thought I knew about gay people when I was 18. I didn't know that gay people liked football. I'm going to think of all the same-sex couples I've performed commitment ceremonies for before it was legal to be married, and for all those starting in Iowa, of all places, where I was able to do real live marriages. Gratitude is a state of mind, a feeling, a strength of the heart. And Cicero said, not only is it the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all the other virtues. It unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough. It turns a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. Makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. Melody Beatty said this. Margaret sent me a writing this week, the point of which was this: the root of joy is gratefulness. It's not joy that makes us grateful, it's gratitude that makes us joyful. The parent of all virtues. Now, I know that you could go home right now if you have internet access and turn on your computer and watch 14 TED Talks about gratitude. I'm not going to focus on what you need to do. I'm going to invite you later to some practices, but I want to speak about the religious, like responses to gratitude. Gratitude first came, and then religion made sense of it and incorporated it. In the Islamic tradition, gratitude is worship. Don't you love that? Gratitude is a form of worship. To realize and appreciate all blessings by and within the heart. To say thanks with the tongue. I love that phrase. To say thanks with the tongue. To express gratitude by doing righteous deeds. The first chapter of the Quran starts with Alhamdulillah, which is generally translated as all praise is for God. But one person says it signifies gratitude in everyday living. And in chapter 55 of the Quran, in a chapter titled The Lord of Mercy, God asked the same questions 31 times. Which of my blessings, which of my favors are you going to turn your back on? Which of these things that we have to be so grateful for are you going to ignore and cast aside? Your choice. In Buddhism, Thich Nhat Hanh says we rush through our days. We get up, we go about our days. And Thich Nhat Hanh always invites us to slow down. He says, when we walk like we're rushing, we print anxiety and sorrow on the earth. We have to walk in a way that we only print peace on the earth. Walk as if you're kissing the earth with your feet. Isn't that beautiful? It's all gratitude. And then he says, if we do that, our posture changes, our perspective changes. In the Jewish tradition, Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, the giant of the late 20th century, mid-late 20th century, friend of Martin Luther King and Reinhold Niebuhr, says how strange we are in this world. how strange we are in this world, and how presumptuous our doings. Only one response can maintain us: gratefulness for witnessing the wonder. Gratefulness for witnessing the wonder. For the gift of our unearned right to serve, to adore, and to fulfill. It is gratefulness which makes the soul great. In the Christian scriptures, we read, rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in all circumstances. As far as I know, Ron probably knows better, but I think Paul was writing that from prison, right? I think so. Okay, all right, give thanks in all things, are you sure? Because it feels like my head's about to be chopped off. Give thanks in all things. Our environmentalist friends suggest that gratitude is a revolutionary act. Why? Because the marketers want you to be dissatisfied, right? They want you to buy something new so that you can feel something, right? Accomplished or better than the next person or have a nicer whatever. It's grounded in a lack of gratitude. She says, this is a way for us to cultivate a healthy aestheticism and reject consumerism. But how do we do it? How do we do it? I told you I wasn't going to give you a TED Talk, but I got to give you some spiritual practices. All right? And I've made a little booklet, and I want to send it to you. So if we don't have your email, please give it to us so we can send it to you. All right? The color gratitude practice tomorrow. All right? I want you to pick a color, any color. I don't care what color it is. I just bought a hoodie, that color, right? So that might be my color tomorrow. And anytime you notice this color in nature, in your home, wherever you are, I want you to pause and really notice it. Slow down and notice it, right? And in the noticing of it, think about what a miracle it is. Think about what a rare occasion it is, the gift of noticing this thing. Find its beauty and give thanks. That's the color one. On Tuesday, hold on. On Tuesday, notice a tree. Wherever you are, notice some tree. Howard Thurman, the great African-American theologian of the 20th century, who would sit with Martin Luther King and watch baseball as a spiritual practice. Growing up, his best friend was a tree. Right? He said, I could talk aloud to the oak tree and know that I was understood. Right? He was probably the smartest person in like 50 miles in that part of Florida where he was growing up. And that tree was part of his reality. Gave me space, he said, to be me. Notice a tree and give thanks for it. You can talk to it too if you want to. That's up to you. Wednesday. When's the last time you looked at your house? I mean, really looked at your house. At your apartment building. Notice your house today. Notice your apartment. Really notice it. Give it a good look. Give it a hug. Give it a thank you. Take a moment of gratitude. That's Wednesday. Now, Thursday is the hour by hour gratitude practice. To see a world in a grain of sand and heaven in a wild flower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. William Blake. Set an alarm for every hour on Thursday. 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 a.m. You might have to reset it. I don't know how many times you can set an alarm. But maybe 10 to 4. And at the top of each hour, stop and give thanks. Say a prayer of gratitude or mindfulness. Thank you, whatever it is you do. But just share a moment of gratitude, however you wish to do so, at the top of every hour. And notice how you're holding eternity in your hand. Now, Friday, peace, love, and happy hour, it says. Friday is happy hour, right? So I don't know. I'm not going to ask anybody, Clark, what time you start your happy hour. I'm not going to ask you when you start your happy hour. Maybe it's 3, maybe it's 5, maybe it's 7. But whenever you think happy hour starts, take a moment and think, what made me happy today? What made me happy today? It's happy hour. You turn every hour into happy hour that way. And Saturday. Downtime is where we become ourselves, Anna Quinlan said. Many of us on Saturdays, not everybody, but many of us get downtime on Saturday. Take a moment today to notice what your downtime is like and to give thanks for the privilege of being able to have downtime, where you can just be you, where you can just be you, and give gratitude for you. And not what you accomplished in this world, not how much money you made, not how much power you had, but just being you. Just being you.